I'm talking about faith without works is dead. And there are three things that I want to mention is that, 3 points about that. The first is that we can either believe in a loving, benevolent, divine first cause, which is God, or we can believe in another, which is a false belief because there is no other. There's only one God, one essence, one power. So faith without works is dead. The second thing that I want to mention is that where we place our attention expands. And so if we have faith in another, then that illusion of another expands. There is nothing but God. So Gandhi said, "You may never know what results come of your action, but if you do nothing, there will be no results." Faith without action is dead. So, I want to tell you a couple of stories. The first was a story told by Florence Litter. And she talks about her father. She was off to college, and she and her brothers had all three come home to be with the family just because their parents had never had a vacation, and so they came home, all three of them came home to help mind the store while their parents had gone or were going to go on a vacation. And the store had a little study in the back. It had a piano and like hide-a-bed. It was very small. But her father spent a lot of time back there. And so before he and his wife left, he called Florence to the back room. And behind the piano was a box. And in that box, he had several clippings. Florence didn't recognize the author of the clippings. But her dad said, "I've written these, and I submitted them under a different name." There was a stack of them. And she said, "Well, why, Daddy, did you submit them under a different name?" And he said that his wife always told him that even though he thought he could write, that he wasn't good at it because he'd only finished 3rd grade. And because he really didn't have a whole lot to say that was very interesting. So as a sort of a act of rebellion, he had written these articles and submitted them around. He hadn't used his own name for fear that they weren't really good enough. But they got published. There was a goodly stack of them. And then he talked about how he had expanded his belief in what he could write about and what he could say. And he'd written an article to their church, a Lutheran church, suggesting how they could change their leadership model. And he considered himself expanding his abilities. And then he said, much to his regret, that that article hadn't been accepted. Florence said, well, why would you keep this a secret? And he said that he was afraid they weren't good enough, and therefore he wasn't good enough. So he tucked the box back behind the piano, and he said, now Florence, this is our secret. Don't tell your brothers and don't tell your mom. And the mom and the dad went off on vacation in a very short period of time. The mom came back and she was alone. Where is Daddy, they all asked. Matter of factly, she said, he's dead.
Oh.
I know. She didn't show any remorse or sadness or grief. And so, the three kids who had been trained to be stoic didn't show any sadness or grief either. But as Florence was preparing eulogies, there was a Lutheran magazine that had come, and guess what? That expansive article was published in it. Our dad never knew. And then, as she was going through the box, she noticed a letter in the bottom of the box, written to the dad from Henry Cabot Lodge, thanking him for his ideas and his brilliant suggestions. Florence never shared with her family. So what can we learn from this? When we talk about faiths without works are dead, what can we think about this story? And the truth is, the dad had allowed the mother's belief to become his truth. He had more faith in his wife's opinion than he did in his own. What we put our attention on expands. He allowed his wife's faith to be the truth for him. How sad is that? And the other story I want to share with you is a kid named Monty Roberts. You may have heard of him, the horse whisperer. Because his dad was a little unstable, they moved around a lot. And his education was really spotty. And his dad was a laborer and worked in stables as a groomer, as a farrier. So in high school, the assignment for the English class was to write about what your ideal work, your ideal life would look like. So Monty Roberts was really stimulated by this assignment. So he wrote about how he would like to have a huge horse ranch and a great big huge house. He was very specific about it. He wrote out his dream of having this huge ranch and this huge house. He outlined how the ranch would be laid out, the stables, the number of horses and the track to train the horses. He even drew up a floor plan for his house and sketched out what the front of it would look like. And he turned the paper in, full of excitement and enthusiasm because he had a dream. He was thrilled with his plans for the future. And he got his paper back, and there was an F. So he went to his high school teacher, who said to him, he said, why did I get an F on this paper? It's my dream. And the high school teacher said, you really need to be much more realistic. A boy like you, moved around, that comes from a background of laborer, how can you make this dream happen? You are being unrealistic. And the teacher said, well, here's what I'm gonna do. You rewrite this paper and make it more realistic. Let go of your fantasies. Rewrite the paper with something realistic that you can expect to achieve in this world. Don't give me grand ideas. Don't be telling me that you are going to have a ranch and a big house and a lot of horses. And you can rewrite the paper. You have it back here on my desk next week, on Monday next week. Monty struggled with that. How could he just rewrite his dreams? He talked to his dad, and his dad said, I don't. This is one of those times in life that you've got to make a decision for yourself. You've got to decide for yourself. And so, Monty decided not to rewrite his paper and to hold strong. Well, we know the rest of the story, of course. Monty Roberts' dreams came true beyond his grandest imaginations. And every year, he would invite children from the school to come out to his ranch. High school teacher brought 30 kids out to the ranch. And he said to Monty, I am so glad you didn't listen to me. He said, you know, I've spoiled a lot of dreams in my day. But good for you to have the faith in your own dreams. So that's the other point I want to make. Faith without works are dead. If you allow other people's faith to undermine your dreams, you're not doing your work. We get to decide. We have a choice. In the Bible, Jesus said, this is John 15, verse 2. This is where faith without works comes from. Jesus said this, I am the true vine, and my Father is the keeper of the vineyard. He cuts off every branch in me that bears no fruit. And every branch that does bear fruit, he prunes to make it even more fruitful. There is only God, that one vine. And we can use the metaphor of the tree for faith without works is dead. So think of yourself as a branch on a tree connected to the vine or the divine. You're not all of God, but all you are is God. Just like that branch is God, bearing fruit. But if the tip of the branch gets broken off, the fruit will rot and die. So when you cut yourself off from the divine, when you don't hold your faith, that becomes faith without works, and it becomes dead. So in the science of mind vernacular, we say, treat and move your feet. Treatment works, prayer works, knowing the truth works. And you gotta take the next best step. I had a client a long time ago who came to me as a practitioner and he wanted to win the Powerball lottery, and he wanted me to pray that he would win. My faith was not in it. So I said to him, well, what would it feel like to have all of the money that you would want? I don't know. What would you do with all of the money if you were to win the lottery? I don't know. Treat and move your feet. He leaned back and he just folded his arms and said, pray for me to win the lottery. Said, well, I really can't believe that. What I can believe is that you have all of the money necessary to fulfill your dreams. You have all of the abundance to fulfill your dreams. And I said, treat and move your feet. Well, he didn't win the lottery, and he sort of drifted away from church after that. He had more faith in good luck and very small odds than I did. I would have been out of integrity if I had prayed in such a way because I couldn't believe it. So Aristotle said this, moral excellence comes about as a result of habit. We become just by doing just acts. We become temperate by doing temperate acts. We become brave by doing brave acts. In other words, faith without work is dead. What we put our attention on expands. What we put our attention on is where we put our faith. We need to mind our mind. We need to be vigilant about what we're thinking and what we're doing. The law, which is what you think is what you get, that thoughts are things, that's the law. And it is like a lie detector or a polygraph. It cannot be fooled. So if you espouse that you want to win the lottery, and you don't actually believe that you can win the lottery, if you espouse that you want all of the money in the world, and yet you don't have any idea how you would spend it or for whom it would be beneficial, without acts, faith are dead. So reminding you that Jesus said, I am the true vine, and my Father is the keeper of the vineyard. He cuts off every branch in me that is not productive or fruitful. Faith without works is dead. Put your faith in your dreams, and then take the action necessary to create those dreams. The universe supports you. The universe is anxious to help you accomplish your dreams. But we've got to get off our duff and do it. We've got to treat, pray, and move our feet. I am always supportive of you in prayer. All you need to do is ask. All you need to do is ask Kate or Steve. Just the simple action of putting your prayer request in that little box over there is an act of faith. You're moving your feet. I absolutely support you in whatever your dreams might be. I invite you to support yourself by taking the action necessary to accomplish them. I love you all. Namaste. So I'd invite Steve and Kate to help me hold the consciousness as we pray on it. I turn my attention within. To that place where I sit in the arms of the divine. To that place where I am filled with peace. To that place where I know the absolute goodness of spirit. And and with gentle hands, I hold the truth. With gentle hands, I protect my dreams. With gentle hands, I hold my faith. Knowing that it is God's good pleasure to give me everything that I long for, everything that I believe to be good. All I need to do is ask. All I need to do is ask for divine right action, for the next right step to be made clear to me. All I need to do is to hold the truth of my good health, my abundance, happy, loving relationships, peace and harmony in every area of my life, the perfect work, the perfect outcome. I hand it all over to God with gentle faith. And then I am open to what is before me, the next right step. Having faith that is alive, vibrant, and growing. I celebrate goodness. I celebrate joy. I turn my attention to all of the good that there is in this universe, knowing that it is available to me simply by asking and knowing that it is. And so, I invite you to know that truth with me as we declare it done, as we say, and so it is.